High in the Japanese Alps, far from the bustling cities and noisy markets, lived a man named Hiroshi. He was old, his beard as white as the mountain snow. His eyes, though, were bright and full of life. They had seen countless seasons change. They held the wisdom of ages. The villagers below spoke of Hiroshi in hushed tones. Some said he was a spirit himself, living for centuries in his mountaintop hut. Others claimed he could speak to the wind and hear the whispers of the trees. All agreed Hiroshi possessed a deep understanding of life and death, of joy and sorrow. He was a beacon of wisdom in a world that often felt chaotic and confusing. Hiroshi lived a simple life. He spent his days meditating, tending to his small garden, and fishing in the crystal-clear streams. But his door was always open. Travelers and villagers alike sought him out, hoping for guidance and wisdom. Word of Hiroshi's wisdom spread like whispers on the wind. People traveled for miles to seek his counsel. They came with questions about love and loss, fear and anger, life and death. Hiroshi listened patiently to each story, each plea for help. One day, a young man named Takeshi arrived at Hiroshi's hut. Takeshi was a fisherman from the village below. He was strong and capable, but his brow was furrowed with worry. His eyes, though bright, held a deep sadness. Takeshi bowed low before Hiroshi. "Wise one," he began, his voice heavy with unspoken burdens. "I am troubled. My mind races with thoughts I cannot quiet. I am restless and afraid. I seek your guidance." Hiroshi smiled gently at the young man. "Come, Takeshi," he said, his voice as soothing as the mountain breeze. "Let us walk by the river. Perhaps its waters can teach us something." Takeshi had grown up hearing tales of Hiroshi's wisdom. His parents often spoke of the old man's ability to calm the most troubled souls. Still, Takeshi felt a flicker of doubt. Could this old man truly understand his inner turmoil? As they walked, Hiroshi pointed out the beauty of the forest. He showed Takeshi the delicate dance of a butterfly's wings and the intricate patterns of a spider's web. He spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, of the delicate balance of nature. Takeshi listened, but his mind continued to race. He couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had been plaguing him for weeks. He had so much to worry about: his aging parents, the dwindling fish in the river, the uncertainty of the future. Finally, they reached a bend in the river. The water here flowed swiftly, crashing against a large moss-covered rock in the middle of the current. Hiroshi gestured towards the rock. "Takeshi," he said, "do you see how the water flows around the rock? It does not fight the rock. It does not try to push it out of the way. It simply flows around it, adapting to its presence." Takeshi nodded slowly, not quite understanding where Hiroshi was going with this. He had come seeking profound wisdom, not a lesson about rocks and water. Hiroshi continued, his voice calm and steady. "Our thoughts are like the water, Takeshi. They are constantly flowing, constantly changing. And just like the river encounters obstacles, so too do our minds." Takeshi looked at the river, watching as the water effortlessly flowed around the rock. He began to see the connection to his own troubled thoughts. Hiroshi elaborated. "When we cling to our thoughts, when we fight them and try to force them away, we create suffering. We become like the water that tries to push the rock, becoming agitated and turbulent." This resonated with Takeshi. He realized he had been clinging to his worries, letting them consume him. He had been trying to force them away, but they only seemed to return stronger. Instead, Hiroshi continued, "We can learn to observe our thoughts without judgment. We can let them flow through us, like the river flowing around the rock. We can acknowledge them, and then let them go." Takeshi spent the rest of the day sitting by the river with Hiroshi. He practiced observing his thoughts without judgment, letting them come and go like the passing breeze. He realized that his thoughts, like the water, were constantly changing. They did not define him. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the water, Takeshi felt a sense of peace he had not felt in weeks. The constant chatter in his mind had quieted. He felt lighter, freer. He bowed deeply to Hiroshi. "Thank you, wise one," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "You have taught me a valuable lesson. I will carry it with me always." Takeshi returned to the village a changed man. He still faced challenges, but he now knew how to navigate the turbulent waters of his mind. He shared Hiroshi's wisdom with others, teaching them the art of letting go. The tale of Takeshi's transformation spread throughout the village and beyond. Hiroshi's simple lesson about the river and the rock became a beacon of hope for those struggling with anxiety and fear. And so, the legacy of the Old Man of the Mountain lived on, passed down through generations, a timeless reminder of the power of letting go and finding peace within.